If you're thinking about starting World of Warcraft, or maybe you just started, you've probably noticed something already. There's an overwhelming amount of information out there. You search WoW Beginner Guide, and suddenly you're hit with a bunch of videos about rotations, talent builds, leveling routes, professions, gold farming strategies, add-ons, and honestly, it can feel like you need a PhD just to create your character. But after playing WoW for the last couple months for the first time, I've realized something. A lot of that stuff doesn't actually matter at the start. So in this video, I want to talk about what actually matters when you first start WoW, what doesn't matter as much as people say, and how to make sure your first experience with the game is actually fun, instead of overwhelming. This isn't coming from a 15-year-old veteran with 10 max level characters. This is coming from someone who just started, made mistakes, got confused, tried different things, and slowly figured out what actually made the game click. If you're brand new, hopefully this helps you skip some of the frustration and get straight into enjoying the game. The first big decision you make in WoW is your class and your race. If you look this up online, you'll immediately see people talking about what class is best, what class is meta, what class does the most damage, and what class is best for endgame. Ignore that. When you're brand new, the most important thing is picking something that you think looks cool. Because you're going to be staring at this character for dozens, maybe hundreds of hours. If you think your character looks awesome, you're way more likely to actually stick with the game. When I first started, I had no idea what anything meant. And I didn't know what half the classes even did. But I picked something that looked interesting to me. And that alone made me want to log back in the next day. Some classes are harder than others, and that's okay. If something feels confusing or difficult, you can always make another character later. Making an alt is not a failure, it's part of the experience. Some players even create entire backstories for their characters. Some people roleplay. Some people collect armor sets to match a theme, and some people care about performance. There is no wrong answer here. Your character is your connection to the world, so pick something that excites you. World of Warcraft is technically playable solo, and I spent the beginning of my playthrough playing it like a solo game. But in my opinion, the game really comes alive when you start interacting with other players. Running dungeons, joining a guild, just doing group content, suddenly the game feels much bigger. Even though this is obviously an MMO, one of the biggest surprises for me starting WoW was realizing just how much content is built around multiplayer experiences. Things like dungeons, raids, professions and trading, even just exploring with other players. There are entire communities built around different parts of the game. Some players love pushing high-level dungeons, some players love raiding, some love making gold through professions, some players love collecting mounts or transmogs. I don't know how to do half these things, but there's a huge social aspect to WoW, and once you start engaging with that, the game becomes way more immersive. Even just having people to ask questions or run content with makes everything feel way more approachable. And if you are nervous about playing with others, just remember, everyone was new at some point. Everyone in the World of Warcraft community that I have interacted with has been nothing but kind and respectful. There is a community out there for you to enjoy the game with. All you have to do is look for it. One thing I quickly realized about WoW is that there is almost an endless amount of things you could be doing. Whether it's just looking through the systems, questing, gear upgrades, reputation, crafting, currencies, events, it can feel like you're constantly behind. But the reality is, you're not on a timer. Sure, some people play 8 to 10 hours a day, but some people play 30 minutes a day, and both are completely fine. WoW expansions last a long time, and the content is designed so players can progress at different speeds. If you only have an hour to play, you can still make meaningful progress, and honestly, trying to rush everything can actually hurt the experience. Some of my favorite moments so far have just been exploring a new area, seeing a new city for the first time, unlocking a new mount, and figuring out a new ability. If you've watched my series, you see sometimes I just like to turn the UI off and look around because the game is beautiful. Taking it slow and really enjoying everything that's going on has been so important to my experience in the game. You don't need to optimize everything immediately. Let the game breathe a little bit. Another thing I didn't fully appreciate when I first started is just how much effort has gone into the world and the story of this game. World of Warcraft has been around for over 20 years, and there's an incredible amount of lore, character development, and world building that has built up over time. And honestly, if you just rush through everything, skip all the dialogue, skip all the cutscenes, and treat every quest like a checklist, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. Because one of the things that really makes WoW feel special is starting to recognize characters, understanding their motivations, seeing how different storylines connect, and realizing that the world actually has history behind it. Even as someone brand new to the game, I've had moments where a character introduction, or a cinematic, or even just a well-designed questline made the experience feel much more meaningful. You start to feel more connected to what you're doing instead of just completing objectives. You start caring about what is happening. And that makes the victories feel more rewarding and the world feel more immersive. You don't need to become a lore expert overnight, but slowing down enough to understand who you are helping, what is happening, and why it matters can really enhance the experience in a way that I didn't expect when I first started. WoW is not just systems layered on top of systems. It's also a world that has been evolving for decades, and letting yourself get immersed in that world is a big part of what makes the game memorable. WoW is a complicated game. Anyone who says it isn't is forgetting what it was like to be new. And I know I said that this game isn't just systems built on top of systems. The game's more than that. But the truth is, there are systems built on top of systems. There are mechanics built on top of mechanics. And sometimes, things just aren't explained very clearly in game. And that's okay. Watching guides is completely normal. Looking up how talents work, how rotations work, what stats mean, how dungeons work, what add-ons do, does not mean you're playing the game the wrong way. Honestly, YouTube is part of the WoW experience at this point. There are creators covering lore, builds, beginner's guides, dungeon mechanics, gold farming UI systems, everything. If something doesn't make sense, look it up. It will save you a lot of confusion. Now, to be fair, this is a way to go about it, but in my own playthrough, I'm trying not to look on YouTube. And there's a community out there as well that will help you. Everyone in game can help you. There's a newcomer chat specifically for new players to ask questions in game. Don't be afraid to use other resources besides YouTube to get your answers. WoW offers a lot of different content for players to enjoy. And one thing I've learned very quickly is that different players enjoy completely different parts of the game. Some players push high-level PvE content, try to get the best gear possible, optimize everything. Other players collect mounts, collect transmogs, make gold, explore the world, focus on professions. Some love PvP and some never touch PvP. Some care deeply about the lore, and others skip every cutscene. For me personally, I've really enjoyed PvE content and improving my character's gear. But I also didn't expect how much I would enjoy things like unlocking mounts and customizing how my character looks. There's a surprising amount of depth in how you can express yourself in-game. And I think that's where WoW becomes really engaging. When you can start identifying what parts of the game make you excited to log in. One of the biggest mistakes new players make is trying to understand everything immediately. WoW's been expanding for 20 years. There are systems layered on top of each other, expansions worth of content, multiple progression paths. You are not expected to understand all of it right away. Choice paralysis is very real in this game. Instead of trying to learn everything, focus on one or two things that interest you. For example, that could be learning your class, running dungeons, getting your first mount, or trying professions, and then expand from there. WoW is really a long-term game. Do not forget that. You don't need to rush to the finish line. If there's one thing I've learned so far, it's that World of Warcraft is not a game you fully understand in a week, or even a month. It's a game that slowly opens up the more you play. And honestly, that's part of what makes it so interesting. Right now, I'm still very early in my WoW journey, but these are the things that have made the biggest difference in my first couple of months. But I also know that my perspective is going to evolve the more I experience dungeons, group content, endgame content, and just engage with more systems. So I'm planning to revisit this topic in the future and talk about what started to matter more later, what I originally misunderstood, what becomes important once you get deeper into the game, and what advice I would give myself if I were starting over again. Because I think there's real value in seeing how a player's perspective changes over time. If you're also new to WoW, let me know in the comments. What has been the most confusing part of the game so far? And if you're a veteran, what advice do you think new players don't hear often enough? I'd love to include some of your feedback in future videos like this. I also wanted to give a shout out to the members of my Discord who are more veterans of the game who gave great opinions for this topic. Honestly, since they've joined my Discord, the veterans have given me great support. They filled me in on a lot of interesting lore that I didn't know about. They've also helped explain systems in the game that maybe I didn't understand, or systems that I didn't even know were in the game. Thank you to you guys. But I'd love to include some more feedback in future videos like this. Also, if you want people to run dungeons with, ask questions, or just talk about the game, the Discord link is in the description. I'm documenting this entire journey as I learn the game for the first time. So if that sounds interesting to you, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.